So if you didn't know, I am a philosophy major in college, and as a philosophy major, I kind of hate philosophy majors. I was talking kind of recently with a friend about like which major has the most annoying people. Like, is it film majors? Is it business majors? Is it computer science majors? And he said he thinks it's philosophy majors. And I think he's kind of right. There's a lot of weird archetypes that you'll find within the philosophy major. There's a lot of people, a surprising amount, who just study philosophy to try and justify their own beliefs. So like they don't have any like good faith interest in like studying philosophy. They just want to justify the things they already believe. And a lot of times people that do that are like really racist. There's a lot of people that study philosophy literally only to justify their own racism. Like if you ever see a Twitter account with like a Greek or Roman statue profile picture, you just know you're gonna see the craziest racist eugenics shit fucking ever. It's insane. And then every single time there's a philosophy PhD student little like marker in their bio. But this is like a more niche subcategory of philosophy majors that you don't really see in person very much, or at the very least, if you do see them in person, they're more covert. I guess this is more of like something you see online pretty often. But there's a lot of really annoying philosophy majors that you'll meet in classes. I'm studying philosophy at UC Berkeley, and oh man, dude, oh man, philosophy majors have a reputation for being pretty pretentious, and for good reason. Like a lot of times in the classroom, people won't be trying to actually learn. They'll just be trying to show off and be like, oh my god, everyone look at me, I'm so smart, I'm so smart. Like, I remember there was just like this one girl in one of my classes who was like sitting front row, and like she'd raise her hand all the time, which don't get me wrong, I also raise my hand a lot. I like to participate if the teacher asks a question and like nobody answers. I think that's like really lame. That's pretty unfortunate. Like that's awkward for the teacher, you know? And if I know the answer, then I'm gonna answer. Probably most of the time. Not all the time, because I don't want to like hog the spotlight either. Like I want to give other people a chance to answer. So there's like a bit of a balancing act you have to play there. But generally, I tend to participate a lot. Like in most of my classes, I end up being one of the people that participates probably the most. Maybe not the most, but like in like top 3, top 5, something like that. I be yapping. But a lot of times people will like kind of raise their hand and try and participate, but they're not actually really trying to participate. They're kind of just trying to go like, oh, look at me, look at me, I know so much stuff. Again, this one girl sitting in front row, she'd raise her hand all the time. Like, we were, dude, I don't even remember who we were learning about. Fuck, it was like so long ago. This was like maybe 4 or 5 months ago. But we were learning about a new philosopher. I'm just gonna throw out some fucking philosophers and hope that like it sticks. I don't know. Maybe the right way or the wrong. Just for the sake of argument, let's say that it was Nagel, right? So like we're learning about Nagel in class, and the teacher like asks if there's any questions about like this one bit of Nagel that we were learning. And then she raises her hand, and then she says, this reminds me a lot of something I read from Aristotle. And it's like, okay, well that wasn't really a question. like the whole point of like you raising your hand just now wasn't to like contribute to the conversation in like a kind of meaningful way, or like you know, build more understanding. You kind of just wanted to spread your butthole for the professor and the whole class and be like, oh professor, look at me professor, oh I know so much philosophy, oh look at me. I really hate it when people do stuff like that. To be fair, like I guess you can try and build understanding by connecting a philosopher that you're studying back to another philosopher. Maybe it was just like your tone of voice or something, I'm not sure. But I felt very, very confident that the intention there wasn't building understanding, it was spreading her butthole in front of the whole class, like rhetorically speaking. Or there was like this other guy in like one of my other classes, and I spent the first like month of the semester thinking he must actually be pretty smart, because he used a lot of really big words. Like he had a very articulate way of speaking, I guess. He used a lot of big words. He used a lot of syllables. So I was like, oh damn, those some big words. Yeah, no, he probably knows what he's talking about. But then I realized, no, not really. Like, I had him in a discussion section, and like we talked about some ideas of it, and I quickly realized, oh, he doesn't actually really know what he's talking about. Or I think a good example of this was like kind of in class once. Like, we were learning about the issues of persisting identity through time in regards to teleportation, which is a more annoying way of saying basically, do teleporters kill you? Like the basic premise, not like teleporters like wormholes or anything that connects to different points in time. Those are a lot safer from like identity problem stuff. But I'm talking about like Star Trek teleporter sort of deals, where it'll like get a perfect biometric scan of all of your information, shoots that information at the speed of light to the other exit chamber, then reconstructs a perfect copy there and destroys the original. So you walk into a chamber, scans you perfectly, kills you, or doesn't kill you depending on the way you view it, and then creates a perfect copy somewhere else, on the other end of the teleportation chamber. And I could talk about my views about whether or not this counts as killing you and creating a perfect clone of you somewhere else, or if it actually is you. Like, this is a whole big thing in philosophy, but it's not very relevant to today's video. Basically, the teacher presented this this philosophical issue, and then he described an advanced alien civilization that uses this form of teleportation to get around all the time. And then he asked the basic question, are they making a mistake? Are they dying every time they use the teleporter? So he's basically posing the question, do teleporters kill you? That's basically what he's saying. And then this guy, he says, yes, it seems that this alien species is accelerationist and has ascended beyond typical ideas of identity. And it's like, no, dude. No. The whole point of the question, we weren't trying to speculate about the cultural thoughts of identity of this advanced alien civilization. We're just using it to tee up the question of whether or not teleporters kill you. But even if we were for some reason speculating about an advanced alien civilization's perspective on identity, he'd still be wrong. Actually, quick correction. He didn't say they ascended beyond traditional thought regarding identity. He said they ascended beyond identity altogether, which could reasonably be the case. He was probably thinking about the Buddhist perspective of no self. Buddhism doesn't say that you don't exist, to be clear, but there is no lasting, unchanging essence that is you. Instead, we're just a bundle of ever-changing atoms, thoughts, and feelings. The way I generally lean is that I think teleporters kill the original and build a perfect copy somewhere else, which isn't you. But the Buddhist doesn't believe in an original copy, or you in the way that we think of it. Every second, cells die, thoughts arise and disappear. We're constantly changing moment to moment, and a Buddhist doesn't see this gradual change as being any different than the type of change that occurs using teleportation. If every moment creates an entirely unique individual, then simply moving that individual somewhere else using teleportation isn't really a threat to identity. But also, they don't really think there is identity, there is no you because of this constant ever-changing of the self. So there is no self, basically. So quick recap, this guy said that the aliens have ascended beyond identity, and this is one way they could reasonably do that. But the aliens don't have to be Buddhists to justify using the teleporter. There are plenty of theories of identity that preserve the self and believe you survive, like psychological continuity. The version of yourself on the other side looks and acts exactly like you, has your exact memories. They remember seamlessly walking into one teleportation chamber and leaving the other. Theories of self that revolve around memory or psychological continuity preserve the self and justify teleportation. So he's wrong. Not only did he word what he said in the most pretentious, annoying way ever, but he's also just wrong. They don't need to throw away identity and self altogether to justify using the teleporter. That's just wrong. And I mean, this is something that I notice pretty often in philosophy classes, where people will needlessly overcomplicate everything they have to say just to kind of sound smart. To be honest, I don't know if part of it is just a byproduct of reading and studying philosophy, kind of making you start to just speak in those terms, If you read enough philosophy, it'll rub off on you a little bit. And a lot of philosophy, especially kind of older philosophy, is written in this kind of sort of very artistic, flowy, expressive way, I guess. They don't get directly to the point of the argument they're trying to make. They kind of go here and there and all over the place and overcomplicate and stuff. They don't present it in the most simple terms. And so if you read a lot of philosophy like that, it'll probably rub off a little bit. And even now, if I compare the way I speak now to the way that I spoke 3 years ago, or the way that I wrote papers 3 years ago, I've definitely, moved a bit more in the direction of, being a bit more articulate, overcomplicating, maybe a little bit. Just now, I probably went more into the weeds than I kind of had to on the whole teleportation thing. But all that being said, in almost every philosophy class I've ever been in, I am almost always, universally, the person who speaks in the most simple manner, in the most shorthand. I don't like to overcomplicate. I just present the ideas. I just talk like a normal person. I talk the way that I talk right now in philosophy classrooms, And a lot of the other students don't really do that. They kind of just overcomplicate. And I just think it's lame. Like, I think it's infinitely more impressive to explain a complicated idea in a simple way than to explain a simple idea in a complicated way. And they tend to do the latter really often. A lot of times they'll overcomplicate or be pretentious like that guy was and not even be correct. I don't know. Personally, that's one of my biggest pet peeves about philosophy majors. But another one is that a lot of them have like some pretty crazy, weird, out there beliefs, which isn't inherently wrong in any way. I think it's actually pretty interesting to talk to people who have very odd ideas. But I also think I stand out a lot from other philosophy students because I'm not spiritual in any way. I don't believe in anything supernatural or anything beyond like the physical sciences. I think that we live in a materialistic world of like atoms and light particles, and like that's kind of just it. I don't really believe in anything greater. I do think that it's possible that such a thing exists, but I don't think that there's any convincing evidence for me to believe that it exists. So I'm kind of like vaguely agnostic, if not somewhat atheist, on like the issue. And the way that I view philosophy is very heavily influenced by my understanding of science, and I'm very interested in science. I don't study it very much in an academic setting. Okay, well, I mean, I did take an astronomy class during my like first semester at Berkeley, and oh my god, dude, that class was so cool. I've always had an interest in space, and like I got to study oh dude, like I got to take like everything I've learned in my free time from like watching documentaries and reading books and watching YouTube videos and all that stuff, and like take it and study it in like in an actual academic setting. And I got to study under this professor, this really awesome guy who helped discover that the expansion of the universe is accelerating as time passes. He helped discover that. He was on the team that received Nobel Prizes for discovering this. Like, that's crazy. And I just get to walk into his like office and just ask him like questions about black holes and fucking time and space and shit. I don't know. It's pretty exciting. That being said though, I haven't studied science much from an academic setting. I'm a philosophy major for a reason. I'm not very good at STEM, but you know, I like to watch science videos pretty often and like read stuff about it. I like to keep up. And the way that I view philosophy is that it's very heavily informed by my opinions on science. I think that philosophy is for questions that science cannot yet answer. That's where I think philosophy belongs. And that's not to take away from philosophy in any way. That leaves philosophy a lot of stuff to work with. But there's a lot of philosophy majors that kind of don't temper their philosophical views with any sort of scientific understanding. And if you just study philosophy and you don't really factor in science much, then you can end up with some really weird beliefs. For example, like I met this one guy the first semester who, like, we were talking about AI, right? And he was talking about how he thinks AI is conscious. And I was like talking about how like, no, dude, it's not. It's just like a large language model. It just is like predictive and knows how to like tell you what you want to hear. It's not like an actual conscious thing. But he was talking about how he thinks it is conscious and how he doesn't just think that AI is conscious. He thinks that everything is conscious. Like, he thinks that the microphone that I'm speaking into to record this right now is conscious. He thinks that the monitor that you're watching this video on right now is conscious. He thinks that everything, every object, everything is conscious. But not only that, he doesn't just think that objects are conscious. He thinks that even concepts are conscious. Like, he thinks that like the concept of wider society itself is conscious, which like is kind of crazy, right? Like, why? I'm trying to remember the specific reasons that he gave. I can't really remember them very well. He kind of did that thing where he overcomplicated it like a lot, and none of it really made all that much sense. It was an interesting conversation for sure, but like it was just like, why would you ever believe this, dude? What? Like, this is just what happens if you let like your brain kind of run wild and then sort of just believe whatever you think you can rationally justify without using the backdrop of science to inform it. And I think that it's excusable for like, you know, really old philosophers like Aristotle and Socrates or whatever, because like before the scientific revolution, like philosophy was the main way we had of understanding the world, just kind of whatever we could come up with using rationality. That was like the main model of understanding the world for pretty much forever until the scientific revolution. But now in modern day, to ignore modern science is just crazy. Like, I think about all the time, like, how would Aristotle end up if he grew up today with access to like all of this information and all this science and stuff? Who knows? Maybe he wouldn't even be a thinker. Maybe he'd just hang out in his room and jerk off all the time. But like, you know, the concept stands where like you can come up with all these amazing ideas and inform them with science. Like, you can combine the two and come up with some really cool, smart stuff. And I feel like a lot of people in modern day, kind of philosophy majors specifically anyway, just kind of forsake it in favor of just pure rationality with no basis in science or like objective fact. Or like there's this one girl in one of my classes, dude, and she tried convincing me that 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. Like we just like sat next to each other and like we were like paired off into groups to talk about like beliefs that we have that are like somewhat uncommon. And she was talking about how she thinks 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. And I was like, okay, dude, what the fuck? And then, so she sat down and tried to explain it to me. And she talked about how she took a rhetoric class the prior semester that talked about the issue of 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. And she was saying that the teacher was talking about how we've learned to believe that 2 + 2 equals 4 our whole lives, and that's like the only reason we believe it. And that like really stuck with her, apparently. But I mean, obviously, we can learn something from like when we're really young and have it drilled into us and have it also be correct. Like the two things aren't contradictory. So I like tried to like kind of prod her a little bit and see if she could provide like a concrete example of 2 + 2 not equaling 4. Like actual evidence, not just like kind of speculation about like us being indoctrinated or whatever. And then she said like, okay, so like, oh wait, so like what I did, right, is I like pointed to my desk and I was like, all right, look, I've got my laptop over here, I've got my phone, that's 2 things, and then I've got my AirPods and my BART clipper card over here, that's another 2 things. You put those 2 groups of things together, 2 + 2, now I've got 4 things. That's 4 things on my desk. And then she was like, well, yeah, so 2 + 2 equals 4 in this case, but it doesn't always equal 4. And then I was like, okay, what? And then she was like, yeah, so like imagine, this is the example she gave. Imagine you take 2 water droplets and then take 2 other water droplets and then combine them. You don't get 4 water droplets, you get 1 big water droplet. Obviously, this is really dumb, and I tried to explain to her why it's dumb. Because you could take 2 water droplets and 2 other water droplets and kind of just like put them next to each other, and then you do have 4 water droplets. That's 4 water droplets total. 2 + 2 equals 4. But they do combine to make 1 big water droplet, which is just describing the way physical things interact sometimes. It doesn't attack the underlying truth that 2 + 2 equals 4. I'm being a little bit more harsh about my criticisms in this commentary right now. I was a lot more polite and less harsh when I was actually talking to these people in person. Because I mean, I don't want to be abrasive, even if I do think their opinion is silly. What she's doing here is mixing up mathematics with how we understand the real world. When someone challenges 2 + 2 equals 4, it's usually not done with any serious intent to actually disprove 2 + 2 equals 4, but it's to kind of move the conversation in the direction of like, what is math? What grounds arithmetic? Like, are numbers just something abstract, like concepts, or are they grounded in something closer to reality? Like, that's usually what the conversation is supposed to move towards. What numbers are is what is kind of meant to be discussed. And that's why it was likely brought up in her rhetoric class. But it seems to me, at least based off the conversation we had, that all she really absorbed was that we always learned that 2 + 2 equals 4, and so that's unreliable. And she seemed to think that the example that she provided of the water droplet actually disproved the arithmetic of 2 + 2 equals 4, rather than just describing physical process. I think that this is just kind of what happens if you don't really like ground your philosophical beliefs in like an understanding of science. All that being said, I don't hold anything against her. You know, it is what it is. It's fine. They're interesting conversations. It's very human, I think. Sorry, I feel like I can't talk about these people without sounding like really pretentious. I guess I just have to kill myself. And like, I have met a lot of very cool, very smart people in a lot of my classes. Not all of my classmates are like crazy. You know, a lot of them are actually pretty cool people. And especially the professors. Like, the professors are, dude, they are like out of this world. I haven't had a single bad philosophy professor yet. Like, they're all very intelligent, very passionate. And I've learned a lot studying philosophy. Like, I've just had so much time to develop like my opinions and intuitions that I've held into like really strong convictions. Like, being given the time to reflect and write papers on my beliefs. It's been awesome. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And one of those topics is the teleportation thing I was talking about. Like, I used to really firmly believe that using a teleportation machine killed you. And I still think it probably does. And I won't get into the specific reasons why. That could be a video completely of its own. But now, like, I still believe that, but like, I'm much shakier in like how strong I believe that. Like, what I've kind of discovered studying philosophy at Berkeley is that like the kind of introductory philosophy that I read sort of just on the side and like watching videos and studying it at community college, it like made me think like, oh yeah, I understand, this stuff is simple. And then like really getting into the weeds of it at Berkeley, I'm like, oh shit, no it's not, I don't know anything. maybe it kills you, maybe it doesn't. There's like really good arguments to be made both ways for like the kind of Buddhist no self bundle theory like ideas, and also the ideas where it does kill you. Like there's really good arguments for both. And I'm not totally sure. I lean towards it killing you, but I don't know. And I'm just really grateful to be studying at Berkeley. Like I'm very, very privileged that I get to have like all these opportunities stuff, you know? Like despite how annoying some philosophy majors are, I definitely wouldn't major in anything else. I think the classes are super interesting, and also it just works really well for me. Like I'm really bad at like putting in the work and studying and being responsible if I don't find the stuff to be interesting. If I think the class is boring, I kind of just won't do it. And I think pretty much all my classes are interesting, so it makes it a lot easier. And even then, for philosophy, I still procrastinate a pretty good bit. I'm a pretty heavy procrastinator. I've kind of always been that way. But like the thing about philosophy is it's kind of easy to procrastinate with, because all they test for is understanding. Like you either have to write papers, which take time to be fair, or take like kind of written in-class essay exam sort of stuff. And if you just understand the arguments and know how to, you know, explain them and like argue for and against them, then you're just set. If you understand, you understand. That's it. There's no needless, like crazy memorization. There's like, it's literally just, if you get it, you get it. And it's like, really, it's honestly really chill. You know, I have a lot of friends who are in STEM majors, and like they have to put in so much work to like, you know, get by college. But like I kind of just pull up to class and I pay attention during lecture. I'll study a little bit before an exam, and that's pretty much it. Like I can get by doing so little and just get to engage with like these really interesting ideas and like build up these like thoughts I've had and like just have fun, you know? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to yap about philosophy and philosophy majors for a little bit, because I think they can be kind of annoying sometimes. Philosophy majors can be kind of annoying, and I'm definitely one of them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video.